Hello, today I'll be presenting Universal HealthBit, which is a B2C, B2B health devices and services company. Their objectives are to facilitate a digital modernization and facilitate some scalability with their growing customer base that is, they're going to need to replace their existing systems that are currently brittle and can't handle the projected growth. They also want to simultaneously roll out the advisory services that are offered by freelance advisors that are onboarded into the system, and then provide support with the devices that are eventually sold. Some of the risks identified were the GDPR, since we are going to be operating within the European Union, and also since we're dealing with health information, we have PHI compliance risks. So we'll enable Shield, the Privacy Center for the uh, data consent, and then also the encryption in transit and event monitoring as well. Some assumptions I made is that Salesforce will be the system of record for customer master data, as well as for the device data and the order lifecycle. The ERP will be system of record for the product lifecycle, the fulfillment and invoicing. The devices themselves and their readings will be fed into and ingested in a Roku Postgres database that will then decommission the vitals tracking system that currently exists and is currently not able to achieve the real-time accuracy and readings that the customers are requesting. The asset management system will be system record for the device master data, and then there will be a web shop that is bring your own shop that will then integrate with Salesforce's shopper commerce APIs via MuleSoft Experience APIs. For the actors and licenses, we have a bunch of internal users. So we have the country executives that will receive the Sales Cloud as well as CRMA license for advanced analytics, along with the partner channel managers as well. They manage then the PCRs, which are the partner channel reps. They receive Sales Cloud license since they are the account managers for these resellers and distributors. The resellers and distributors themselves will receive partner community license, and that is for their role in the sale of devices to customers, external customers. The billing reps receive Service Cloud license for their access to case object, as well as the CSAs, since they are doing the case management. The patient customers receive customer community license for access to their own records, as well as the authentication to the Heroku app. And then the freelance health advisor receive customer community plus license for the ability to have advanced sharing and to access external other records. The org itself is going to be implemented using a single org. Will enable multi-language as well as multi-currency. Multi-language via translation of metadata, and then multi-currency for the global presence that this organization is seeking to bring into scope. The Salesforce org itself has a couple packages installed for charging. That's for the payment gateway and payment processing. Digital engagement will be enabled for live chat, as well as Einstein Bot for the deflection and resolution of cases without human intervention. The CRMA will be enabled for the advanced analytics, and DocuSign for e-signature. There will be two portals established, the partner portal and the customer portal. The partner portal is for those resellers as well as for the distributors. And the customer portal will be accessed by the external users. They'll authenticate using Facebook and X that will have their own auth providers established within Salesforce for the ability for them to authenticate using their social media credentials, and then the ID tokens validated by Salesforce. The internal users authenticate using SAML via Okta. The Okta has federated identities with the LDAP that already exist for the internal users. There will be also an advisor app that's published via mobile publisher. That will be the external facing app. That is a replication of the partner portal app itself. The customer app as well will be hosted actually on Heroku and will be backed by Heroku Postgres. That will also be have Bluetooth enabled for the deployed devices to integrate their readings, and then the Heroku Postgres integrates with Salesforce via Salesforce Connect and Heroku Connect for the data replication and virtualization. There'll be a web shop and website, like I mentioned, that will integrate with Salesforce and Salesforce's SCAPIs. There will be an address validation service that will continue to be used and integrated via ESB with Salesforce for the address validation. And then additionally, on-prem, we have the asset management system, which is the device master data system. This will be continued to be updated with the device model numbers, serial numbers, and the activation status. This will be integrated with this will be updated via MuleSoft using platform events. And then there are a couple of ERPs as well that we integrated with Salesforce via a MuleSoft proxy agent that establishes a reverse proxy server. Okay. Moving on now to the requirements. Currently, the website itself provides a product catalog and additional information in different languages. Those are supported and maintained on SharePoint. Currently, what we're going to do is replace this on-premise SharePoint server with what Salesforce calls knowledge articles, and then we'll have translations available for those knowledge articles within the system. We'll also enable live chat using digital engagement, and then there will be an Einstein bot also provisioned for the deflection of chat volumes for the increasing load. The web shop itself will be a single page application that will call experience APIs for the product master data. And this will be done via MuleSoft. MuleSoft will expose experience APIs and then orchestrate the integration with the shop commerce APIs that Salesforce then exposes. The devices themselves have many different configuration options when they are shopping on the website. This will be enabled using a product hierarchy where we have products that can be that are bundles that are linked with multiple different product that are components of those bundles. And it's a mini-to relationship since the products themselves can be linked to multiple different bundles. And this will be enabled using a junction object called what I'm calling a custom object for the product bundle component. So when they eventually add the bundle, or when they add a bundle, what it will do is that it will create the order items for each individual product that exist under that bundle. So there is that pricing established as well. When they are doing the checkout, the website will then make a call out to the address validation service API. This will be using request and reply, and of course facilitated by the ESB for the to be decoupled from the website itself. The customer, once they have had their address verified, will create then the order as a draft. The draft will initiate the record triggered flow that will create a chargent order that will then enable them to then store their credit card information as a tokenized value, and then also process the payment. Once the payment has been processed, the chargent order is updated as paid, and then that updates the order as activated. Another route for the for order activation is for the customers to input their insurance information. The insurance providers have experience APIs that they expose for the validation of policy IDs that are entered by patients. So when a patient chooses to enter a policy ID, and that will initiate a call out from Salesforce to the Insurance APIs, that includes the policy ID. This will be using request and reply. And then if insurance eventually returns within 3 days asynchronously, that the device is covered, that will itself update the order as activated. If the insurance does not cover the device, that will then revert the order as draft, and it will update then that will then create a charging order for the customer, then do the payment. That was B2C. So for B2B, the interested business will reach out to the business development rep through the website. They will initially be created as a lead. That will then be assigned to a regional business development rep queue for that lead, based on the lead's region, and then the rep themselves that are within that queue will then assign themselves to the lead and then convert the lead. After they've converted the lead, that will create then a business account as well as a contact for the customer, and then that will initiate a record trigger flow that will assign it to an existing partner channel rep for that is within the public group for that region and type, and that will be using round robin. In fact, let me restate that. It will assign to the partner channel rep in the role, since I have a role hierarchy here, and I'll talk about that for a moment. We have a role hierarchy here that is partitioned by region and partner type. And so what we'll do is ensure that we are assigning the account to a user that's within that specific region and aligned with that partner type. Okay. Back to the ERD. The different prices can be negotiated based on the region and tier. So what we'll do is have different prices may apply based on the region and tier. What we'll have is a price book that is specific to the region and tier, and then allow for significant partners to have general discounts negotiated, and those discounts would then be stored on the contract object directly. And that's a general discount. It's a flat discount. I'm assuming that they are flat. They're flat discounts that are applying to all products that are eventually created as orders, under orders, or orders that are created under that contract. The discounts are typically negotiated on a yearly basis, and they're also approved by the PCM. So of course we'll ensure that we're not just reusing the same contract. What we'll do is have the contracts themselves start and end at the beginning and the end of the year, and then at the end of the year there will be a new contract that's created that will then need to be approved by the partner channel manager, and that will then be based on the status of the contract itself. So it will be initially created as a draft at the end of the year, and then when it's with the PCM, it will be an approval process, and then after it's approved, it's at the status of activated. The partner channel reps who actually own the accounts themselves will receive order requests from customers via phone or email. They will also, so they will be able to create orders for the customer directly, or for the business account directly. Another way for the distributors to create an order is to use the portal itself. They will be able to then create a draft order that's under the contract with the price book, and that will then be what is eventually qualified by the BCR. They will mark the deal as contracting. That will then eventually end up creating a DocuSign envelope for the e-signature by the customer. The customer, once they've e-signed it, will then receive an email, or the customer will receive an email once the DocuSign envelope has been created in Salesforce. And then once the DocuSign envelope has been signed, then the Salesforce will integrate with the customer order will be activated first. And then that will integrate with the ERP system to ensure that it has the billing and fulfillment details so that it can then be processed by the ERP system. Distributor sales should only send orders to the ERP. So on DocuSign signature, the Salesforce will integrate with the ERP using a fire and forget method. That's just communicating the facts. It's not returning any response from the ERP system. For patient customer sales that are specific to an individual, that will be posted to the ERP system, and the ERP system will rely upon on MuleSoft to communicate the order and the pay status data. And then the MuleSoft will also orchestrate the receipt response that is sent to the customer after it's been posted to the ERP system. Once the order is completed and shipped, the status is updated in the ERP directly. So the status of the fulfillment is updated in the ERP. ERP will communicate with Salesforce the status of the order using a remote call-in, and this will be using MuleSoft, which will pull the statuses from the ERP system and make a remote call into Salesforce to update the order so that the customers can view the status of their order and its shipping. If the patient purchases an advisory package using the bundle, so under a bundle, there's also the ability for them to buy a package that includes advisory services. The health advisors will be notified that they have a request that they can either accept or deny. This request is initiated using the work order that is initially created from the asset that was created. The work order is created with the price book as well. That is the the work order is created, and then it's created from the order item itself. That is initiated using a record flow that creates a work order line item per step. That is created from the master data type, custom master data type that defines the predefined actions for the health advisor to complete. The work orders themselves, though, are initially created with work order share records for 10 different advisors for geolocation. Once the health advisor has been notified using push notification that is sent to their mobile device, the first health advisor that assigns themselves to the owner will also delete the work order share records that are associated with the other 9 advisors, so they lose access to the work order once they are the owner. After the device has been received by the customer, they will install the customer app, which is actually integrated with the Heroku, hosted on Heroku. The native app itself has the ability for them to turn on Bluetooth. It has Bluetooth capabilities. It will integrate with the device, and then the devices, once they've been integrated and connected via Bluetooth with the customer app, the devices will send readings to the Postgres database and also alerts to the Postgres database. Once a customer has been set up as a record, like once their asset's been created within the Heroku Postgres database, what Heroku will do is that it will create an asset within Salesforce. And then there will be a record trigger flow that will create a platform event to communicate the asset ID to the asset management system and inform the asset management system that the device should be set to active. The app itself will also enable customers to be able to see their readings. So since it is already stored natively within Heroku, they'll be able to read that directly. And then Heroku Connect will enable the cases, bidirectional syncing from Heroku to Salesforce. So this will be for cases where they want to request support, and also for the critical readings that will also, with the Heroku app logic, create a case record within a Heroku Postgres database, and that will be synced with Salesforce using Heroku Connect as well. Any other readings that are not critical readings will be integrated with Salesforce using Salesforce Connect that will then expose external objects that are stored as external object called reading. The support agents, well, moving on to now support, the support agents can only cancel orders that have not yet been shipped. So this will be just a validation. When an order is attempted to be canceled, it will make a request and reply with the ERP system and then block if the ERP returns that the order has been shipped. The patients who bought an advisory package should be able to see and securely exchange messages with their advisor. The advisor is stored as the owner of the work order, and the communications will be enabled using chatter files on the work order itself. The customer device reports that will be able to report that if the incident level has reached a critical level. What Heroku will do is have its own in-app logic for the creation of a case that looks up to the asset. The case itself will then be routed to a customer support agent that will then be responsible via omnichannel. The advisor will also receive a push notification, and that will be to their CSAs, or the customer support agents, are notified if the customer's device hasn't sent any new data within 3 days, and this will be also using Heroku Connect, where it will have in-app logic for detection if there's devices that haven't sent any data to the to Salesforce, or hasn't sent any data to Heroku. If it hasn't sent any data, if a device ID hasn't sent any data to Heroku, then it will create a case within Heroku, and then that will be integrated with Salesforce using Heroku Connect, and that will then be routed to a CSA using omnichannel. There is large data volumes incorporated, or in this scenario here, where we have 30K support requests per month, and there's going to be a large volume of records there on the case object. What we'll do is enable Salesforce Archive and establish an archive policy for support requests, so that we aren't storing large data volumes on platform necessarily. And that will then archive them into cold storage and into S3 buckets. The support requests include sometimes serious incident reports, and those need to have a more extended long tail retention. So what we'll do is have an archive policy that tiers the retention of the case records based on the type of incident report. And in the case of it being a serious incident report, we will exclude those from the typical Salesforce archive policy where we archive closed requests. We will only archive these after 60 months. And then basic device information, such as purchase date, any of this master data will be accessible via the asset object within Salesforce. The customers and partners will have access to the portal and be able to view orders and submit support requests. support cases. These customers and the partners themselves, so the business accounts, will be able to view any assets, since it is controlled by parent under the account. And then they'll be able to view the cases since they will have access to the asset or account. There will be implicit sharing on the case object. The patients will also be able to view alerts and trend reports of the data collected within the Heroku Postgres using the readings external object. Patients will be able to sign in using Facebook and Twitter, using OIDC, and then there will be an auth provider for both Facebook and Twitter that will validate the e-tokens. Partner channel reps should only be able to view and edit order requests and order belonging to their team. There will be, of course, the role hireability for the management, but there'll also be account teams established for the ability for partner channel reps to view each other's accounts. And then orders themselves will be controlled by parent for the accounts themselves. The internal users will be able to authenticate using SAML via the Okta that is provisioned. There will also be SCIM-based provisioning as well for the ability for user access to be managed in one place. And then there will be just-in-time provisioning for the automatic, for the just-in-time provisioning when the user is authenticated within Salesforce. The patient data, including devices and latest vitals, should be visible to all CSAs. This will be enabled using criteria-based sharing rules for the role for the CSA, so we'll share all cases. All patient data and devices and latest vitals will be shared to that specific role for the CSAs. The CSAs should be only see the data of health advisors already in their region. We'll have a sharing rule for the advisors for the account for those person accounts, and this will be criteria-based sharing rules for the 7 different regions. The advisors will be able to view only their own patient package and vital data using the work order object. So they'll own the work order, and that will also share the asset as well with them, since the asset has the reading related list. The production managers will be able to analyze expected demand and forecast demand using CRMA. The production managers will be able to run incident reports and group by them in my model using a standard report on cases per asset. The billing reps must report the monthly invoices submitted by advisors. They will be able to use also standard reporting for that as well. Health advisors need to also be able to run reports over the request, patients, and invoice by status. They'll use their access to the case object for that. And then additionally, the executives would like to see deeper analytics on health data, and they will use for deeper analytics. I'm assuming that's advanced analytics, and this is trending and marketing data. So this is where we leverage CRMA, which has the ability to ingest data sets for advanced reporting, not just for Salesforce data. The distributed teams and regulatory technical constraints require that we apply sophistication behind the project methodology and governance structure. So we'll have a 3+1 governance model where we have a steering committee that is led by the program owner, and then we have a PMO, which has project owners and product owners and the key stakeholders. And then we have the PMO, so you have project management, and you have then the BAs, devs, and QAs that are responsible for the day-to-day development of the application. And then we finally have the COE that establishes the guardrails, that is distributed through a federated model where we have a global center of excellence that applies the architectural standards, and then you have decentralized federated COEs that establish guardrails per market, and then you have like legal guidance that are embedded within those different decentralized federated COEs. The release process, release approach will also fit into that model where we have a hybrid waterfall agile approach. And of course, with the different roles that I just defined, they will be they will be involved in each individual step of the definition of ready stories and defining those, and then the testing of the definition of done development. I recommend using the Canadian system as a pilot, or since it has already the established ERP, which is SOAP based. Then once the Canadian pilot is successful, we have a USA release with the ERP at ready state. Once it is at ready state, once the USA has been gone live, then we have the MEA release that will be reusing the USA development to minimize the duplication of effort, but also being mindful of the regulatory requirements there. We have its own separate federated COE to establish the to be in compliance with the regulatory framework there. And then finally, we're going to follow the Sun governance for the fact that we have time zone differences based in India. We have to make sure that we are not constrained by the time differences here. So we'll just follow the Sun governance in that case. And that concludes our presentation. Thank you.